38% of the world's total wealth. If the trends continue, Oxfam predicts that the most affluent will possess more wealth than the remaining 99% by 2016. Well, that seems fair, doesn't it, Marco?
By the way, wasn't the thing in there that
perfect.
30 of the top 80 families are from America?
Right.
I mean, and half of them are Walmarts.
What is the point of this whole... That there is a donate button right on StephanieMiller.com.
Yeah.
If you have any interest in...
Somehow I don't think those 30 families will have money to donate.
If anyone would like to trickle down on me, we could use that about now.
Go to naturebox.com/Stephanie.
Please, do it. Okay, 46 minutes after the hour, we roll along on the Stephanie Miller Show.
As it turns out, the revolution will not be televised. It's on the radio. It's the Stephanie Miller Show.
I mean, we're so close to having marriage equality in every state. We're down to maybe a dozen states that don't have it, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
South Dakota earlier this week South Dakota earlier this week, I think.
South Dakota and Florida in the last 2 weeks. We're down to less than a dozen states that don't have rulings in favor of marriage equality.
Right.
So it's only a matter of time. We should know in the next week or so whether the Supreme Court is going to take marriage equality. I can't imagine that they don't at this point, because you now have two district courts who are conflicting with each other.
I am ironing my green pashmina as we speak, because Ted Olson has invited me. He said I can come watch when they argue at the Supreme Court.
Okay.
You should go.
Of course, we were at a cocktail party, so who knows? He may not remember that.
He may have been drunk.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's not like we couldn't find you a bottle of wine when you get to D.C. if you can't get in.
That's true.
By the way, Carl, it's stories like these that are becoming so the anomaly. You mentioned human dignity. You saw this story in Colorado. Relatives livid after Colorado church objects to lesbian's funeral. They literally had to pack up the dead woman and move her out of the church because there was a video with her kissing her wife.
Yeah, there was
among other moments in her life and of proposing to her wife.
Minutes after it was supposed to begin.
Yeah.
But, there's no animus.
Yeah. No, of course not.
And what's fascinating to me is how, okay, fine. Let's say that you're a Christian and that your brand of Christianity says you can't like gay people. Odds are your brand of Christianity is very strict, and you probably also can't support two religions marrying each other, like a Jew marrying a Christian or a Muslim marrying a Jew or whatever. You never hear about them denying services to those people. You never hear about them checking to see if a woman has been divorced or if somebody lost their virginity before their marriage. I mean, you never hear them checking about anything else. But it is as if they are preoccupied with, sexuality, like the guys on My Husband's Not Gay.
But the good news, Carl, is this is, as you say, I think it's not even become partisan. It's about human dignity. And let me just quickly do the details of the story. If people haven't heard it, relatives of a Colorado woman say they were forced to move her funeral 15 minutes before the scheduled start of the service over objections to a video showing highlights from the openly lesbian woman's life. She died December 30th at the age of 33. She was survived by her wife as well as the couple's two children, aged 12 and 7. So the pastor informed the family they would not be able to go ahead because of the inappropriate video that they wanted displayed next to her casket. The video contained photos of her kissing her wife and also leaning down and proposing to her wife. Family members were told they'd be able to go on as long as those images were edited out of the video. Two of the most probably important moments in her life were edited out. Collier's family decided they would not edit the video, instead moved it to across the street, that they had to pick up the flower, everything. The casket had to be driven across the street. The family remains outraged. 180 people had to squeeze in a room that held about 60 people. And, it's, as you say, Carl, not about animus, right?
Right. And, this has really been a part of LGBT history going back decades, The Academy Award nominations came out just minutes ago.
Yep.
And the Imitation Game, which is a biopic about Alan Turing, who was a gay man who broke the German code and basically helped us win the war, and was chemically castrated for his troubles. Yeah, and he was gay, and he had a choice between prison or castration, and he chose castration, and ultimately he killed himself. That was what life was like in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, that's how we said thank you for your service back then. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's why English people don't speak German today.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Carl, we're
treated them.
Stephanie Miller.
Just want your kiss.
It is the Stephanie Miller Show. Welcome to it. 51 minutes after the hour. 1-800-STEP-1-2, the phone number, toll free from anywhere. Charlie Pierce coming up. Jody Hamilton live in studio. And, of course, Jim in Chicago. Hello, Jim. Welcome.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. My opinion, to be perfectly honest, first of all, I'm sick of the whole class warfare nonsense. And that rhetoric really irks me. The reason we are the 1% is because we are better than you. We are superior to you when it comes to investing money, saving money, working harder, and you can't compete. So
you're in the top 1% of douchiness thus far.
Yeah, that's the can-do American spirit.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, that's the can-do American
nice.
spirit.
You're better. You're better than. So no one can aspire.
No, you're an a-hole.
Obviously, people get to be somewhere by being better at it. If you want to
oh, really? Some people actually, a lot of our people get to it by inheriting it.
With that attitude, good luck getting someone to clean your house.
So if you're saying that we get it simply by inheritance, they're supposed to give it away after one generation.
Do you think that Mitt Romney had the same struggle in life as, say, someone that was born into a poor family? Do you think maybe he had a leg up by coming from a very wealthy family? Do you think George Bush would have been president?
They don't know those struggles at all.
I know a lot of people that were born rich who ended up with nothing because they pissed it all away.
Okay, there's those people too.
There are obviously people out there that are responsible, that live within their means, that don't have children they can't afford, that spend their money wisely, and they have achieved success like my life.
Right, so nobody ever, I don't know, it goes bankrupt from an unexpected medical expense, anything like that. So it's your fault. It's all about character if you're not rich.
I think most people are in their position not because of one decision they've made, but a series of decisions. It's usually not one.
And you've never made any bad decisions in your life?
Give me an example of what you're talking about. Give me one specific example, someone you know.
As far as what? Somebody that's lost everything?
Yeah, because of a series of bad decisions.
I've seen people that have lost...
Give me one specific example.
I can't name names.
Okay, yeah, you can't.
They don't own a company. Hey, asshole, listen.
Oh! Uh-huh.
Right. All right, we had to dump him because he was a hole, as he said, except without the bleep.
Yep.
Okay. Ow. Joe in Chicago, you're on the Stephanie Miller Show. Hi, Joe. He's pleasant.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment about the movie Selma and the fact that it didn't get enough Oscars according to, what people have seen it believe.
Right.
And from my understanding that to get a movie nominated for Oscars takes a lot of good marketing timing. That's why most of the movies that the studios want to be nominated for Oscars come out at the end of the year, because ones that come out at the beginning of the year to great acclaim get lost and forgotten by the newer ones that go out.
That's probably true.
And Selma probably would have done better if they followed the Lincoln movie model and come out at the beginning of the holiday season and allowed it to percolate and families to see it throughout the whole, movie, the prime movie time. But instead, that movie came out at the very last second of the year.
It was released on Christmas Day. Yeah.
And a very limited release as well.
Yeah.
And from what actually your producer just told me, that the screenings or that the pre-screen versions of that movie were delayed, and they weren't. So the people that screen the movies for Oscars didn't get to see it in time. So
but
in my opinion, it may be worthy of a lot of Oscars, but the way it was released prevented it from getting.
Well, I think it's Travis's right. Joe, I think Travis's point is well taken. Though it's sad to some of us on the political spectrum that American Sniper, which, let's face it, is a kind of a pro-war jingoistic kind of movie, grossed however much it grossed in Selma, which is, really a critical film about the civil rights movement and not just the film, but in our history did so poorly. And you're right, it could have been, some of all the things you talked about.
And I agree that, but I believe American Sniper probably had a lot more money behind the marketing of that than Selma did. Selma, I believe there were people that were involved in making the movie that were going out and lecturing at colleges and things. Right. But anyway, a good idea for a movie might be American Voter, that portrays how people vote for idiots like Bush and others that promise to balance budgets by cutting taxes.
Yeah, I don't think Turnout would be good for that, ironically.
Yeah.
See what I did? you did a movie about the voter, no one would turn out because that's the whole point of the American voter. Okay.
You see, because
you see what I did there. Laura in Iowa. Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I would just like to address the wonderful previous caller that is so much better than me because he's in the 1%.
Yes.
Right.
Clearly, you are deficient in every way to him.
Right.
Right.
And very interesting that just because I might be a middle-class worker, he's so much better than me, even though money is not an object to me. I would much rather spend my life helping other people as I'm doing now.
What? You loser.
You communist.
I know.
God.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but apparently that's not what America is about.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Laura,
That
thank
was
you.
my point.
Thank you for confessing your deficiencies. They were clear from the moment you began the call.
Thank you.
All right. Goodbye.
Wow.
We engaged in a little skit. I didn't even plan that. I was right off the top of my.
That was improv.
Oh my gosh, John in Minneapolis. Hi, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, respecting the other caller. I mean, not the last caller, but the one before that. Yeah, there is class warfare, and it's the war of the rich against the poor. Because the poor really, they don't own all the media. I mean, we have people like you and other people on Free Speech TV to advocate for, the poor and middle class. But I also wanted to say, a good portion of the wealth that was made, and Mitt Romney is an excellent point, is taken, not made. It is taken from other sources.
Right. And I've said it before.
Of the economy and the bank failures made a lot of people rich.
Yeah, and I've said it before. The hardest working people I know personally are poor. That whole myth just makes me crazy. That people are lazy or that don't have a hedge fund somewhere. I mean,
and don't forget, Mitt Romney made his millions by bankrupting companies and putting workers out of work.
Yes. And then putting his money in overseas. Yeah. Not investing back in America. Dodging taxes. Okay. 58 minutes after the hour, right back. Charlie Pierce, much more as we continue on the Stephanie Miller Show. Our new Sirius XM Channel 121 Insight.
Yeah, I'm on that. I was on John's show on Monday.
Sweet.
I think you were on. Were you on right after?
Indeed, I was.
He said that you were coming on. You were his first celebrity guest.
Yes, he has a very low bar for celebrities, which is what I love about him. Yes.
So it's great to see John have that show, and I just have 1 day a week, because if I had 5 days a week, we'd have Islamic law in about 3 months.
That's right. True. That'd be Sharia law.
Yeah.
Right. We'd have Sharia everywhere, but 1 day a week, it's going to take about 4 or 5 years. And
when is it on?
The BLTs.
Yeah, when is it on?
When is it on?
Mine is on Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, New York time live, and then it repeats. And I'm hoping people will listen. I'm hoping somebody calls. I mean, we're going to be like, open up the phone lines, and no one calls. It's a new show. It's Saturday morning. It's not the most traffic. But
well, when you have a radio show, you've got to be prepared to monologue for 3 hours.
That was Stephanie does.
Well, no. That's. I mean, you have. If you get no phone calls, you have to be prepared for that.
Dean's chatty. He can do it.
Yeah, I know you're chatty. You can do it. You'll do fine.
Half hour. I have 4 guests for each half hour.
Oh well, then you're fine
with them. But I do want, because we're going to do a segment, Ask a Muslim a Question, every show, where people can call in and ask the most difficult questions, or whatever they're concerned about Muslims, or even funny things, whatever they want.
That's
great
weird.
idea.
I have several questions for you, Muslim.
I'm not. It's not open. Phones are not open yet.
I know you were on John's show on Moderate Muslim Mondays.
Monday. I told him I want to go back on Fanatical Fridays, though. That's my big thing.
But you wrote a really interesting piece. Are all terrorists Muslims? It's not even close. What percentage of terror attacks in the U.S. and Europe are committed by Muslims? And you say, guess. Nope. Guess again. You talk about how many times we've heard that. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims, right? How many times have we heard that on Fox and elsewhere, right?
We hear, when I heard it from Fox, I didn't care, but I've heard it from reasonable people, like intelligent, reasonable people, who've said that it's almost like the soft bigotry of low expectations, George Bush thing. It's almost like that. Hey, look, you're not all bad, but all, and you're probably a good one, but, all the terrorists we see are Muslims. And I kept going, no, there's statistics. So because of the Paris attack, I'm like, let me really dive into this, and I found as many stats as I could for people.